Picture this, you just lost the NBA Finals. Your team puts $252 million in front of you, 5 years. And there's a clause inside it that could push the number past 300. Taking every dollar available might be the worst decision of your career. This was Victor Wembanyama's exact situation weeks ago, and he just made his move. He escaped the check. But to understand why the biggest contract of his life was a trap and what getting out of it just cost him, you gotta stop thinking about it like a paycheck and start thinking about it like a chess move. We read the fine print so you don't have to.
A new era has dawned. It's Wemby's West. The Spurs are going to the NBA Finals.
Look at the emotion from Wemby. Unbelievable. This is what you want to see, a young team.
2 months ago, Wembanyama did something absurd for a 22-year-old. He dragged the San Antonio Spurs, a team most people wrote off, to 62 wins and the NBA Finals. He finished third in MVP voting. He was the first player in league history to win Defensive Player of the Year unanimously. And still wasn't enough. Wemby proved he can carry a team to the door. He also proved he can't kick it open alone, which is the whole problem, because the thing he needs most, a better team around him, is the exact thing the rule is about to make almost impossible to build. And the trigger is the contract in his own hands. The more they pay him, the worse his team gets. So, he did something a 22-year-old almost never does. He walked away from money. Now here's why that was the coldest move on the board. Here's the offer on the table. As a player coming off his rookie deal with his resume, Wembanyama qualifies for a maximum rookie extension, reported around $252 million over 5 years. Every instinct says take it. He earned it. He's the future of the league. Leaving money on the table would be insane. But watch what that number does to everyone standing around him. There are walls stacked above a team's payroll. First, the tax line. Cross that, and you start paying a penalty on every dollar over it. Then the aprons above that. And crossing those isn't about money anymore. You lose the exceptions you used to sign role players. You lose the ability to combine salaries in a trade. You get frozen. A Max Wembanyama contract is a huge chunk of that payroll. The more he takes, the closer the Spurs sit to those walls, and the less they can do to put talent next to him. So, the paycheck that rewards him is the same paycheck that strands him. So he could take less, and here's where most people stop understanding. Because taking less doesn't help a little. It helps a lot more than the math looks like it should. Now here's the part that flips this from a nice gesture into a strategic weapon. And it's the thing almost nobody explains. Cap punishment isn't linear. A team $1 over a line doesn't pay slightly more than a team $1 under it. It pays on an entirely different schedule. And here's the move Wembanyama actually made. Because he didn't turn down a bigger offer. Coming off a rookie deal, the most a player can be paid is 25% of the cap. To climb to 30, you have to hit a benchmark. MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, or All-NBA. Those clauses are called escalators. He signed at 25% flat, no climb, no matter what he wins. That's about $10 million a year he can now never earn, roughly $51 million across the deal.
Spurs fans naturally went straight to the message boards to investigate. It was known that Wembanyama this summer, eligible for the first time to sign a contract extension. That wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. ESPN, though, reporting it is a 5-year, $252 million extension. Victor is signing a 25% Supermax extension when he could have signed a 30% Supermax extension. That means he's taking less money to allow team flexibility.
Here's what those $10 million buy. The new contract doesn't start until 2027, and on San Antonio's projected books that year, they sit at $10 million under the luxury tax line, with 3 roster spots still to fill. At 30%, Wembanyama eats nearly all of that room by himself, and the Spurs have to dump a contract just to stay under. Which sounds survivable until you know what's on the other side of that line. The luxury tax isn't a fee, it's a clock. Go over it at 3 years out of 4 and you become a repeater. And the rates on the other side aren't a little worse, they're punitive. Look at Denver right now. Repeat taxpayer. One unsigned role player left on the board. If that player takes his qualifying offer, $6.5 million, Denver's tax bill lands around $112 million. If they pay him what the market says he's worth, about $23 million a year, that same tax bill goes to $231 million, the largest in the history of the sport. That's the repeater. This Spurs core is 22 years old. They have a decade of tax years in front of them. Every year they keep that clock from starting is worth more than the year itself. So, read the trade. Wembanyama gave up $10 million a year he might have earned to keep his team off a clock that could cost them hundreds of millions later. He didn't take less for goodwill. He paid out of his own pocket to stop a meter from starting. So, he escaped the check. But look closer at what the escape actually was, because it means the trap worked exactly as designed. Now, here's why this check is not just a tough call. In chess, you're in check when every square your king can move is also under attack. Wembanyama had exactly 2 moves. Both lost something. He had to pick which loss. Square 1, the one he didn't take, the escalators. He bets on his own body, hit a benchmark, and the deal climbs to 30%, north of $300 million. He gets every dollar the rules allow, and he hands his front office a payroll heavy enough to put them deep in the tax and climbing toward the aprons, where the tools they'd need to build around him start switching off. All the money, a stranded career. Square 2, the one he took, 25% flat. About $10 million a year he'll never see. He preserves the Spurs' flexibility, keeps them off the clock, lets them build a contender around him, and permanently gives up tens of millions he will now never be able to earn. In a career, one awkward landing could end. The team, not the security. So, he escaped the check, but look at how. There was no square that kept both the money and the team. A 22-year-old who just lost a finals had to choose between the money he could earn and the roster he needs to use it. And the only way out was to pay.
I would presume it's at or around that 25% max as well. A year after that, Dylan Harper is going to get his max. He's probably going to be something like 25% as well, at least based on what we've seen out of him as a rookie. So the Spurs are going to get substantially more expensive with each passing year. Victor taking this discount makes it a lot more easy for them to navigate the tax, navigate the aprons, and potentially keep De'Aaron Fox without being forced to make a bad trade, attach assets to get off of that contract.
He picked the move that cost him cash instead of the one that cost him his prime. That's not a man beating the trap. That's a man who read the board well enough to know which loss hurt less. Now, step back, because this stops being about Wembanyama and starts being about the rule. The wall was written to stop the richest teams from buying titles. Fine, but look at what it actually did to the best young player in basketball. It turned his own maximum contract into the thing that weakens his team, and made him surrender $10 million a year to undo it. It made earn every dollar you can and have a team worth playing for into opposite moves. And he's not alone on this board. It's the same fine print that made a bench minimum cost millions in tax. The same fine print that made a traded star pay his own bonus back. The same fine print that made a team pay a veteran to leave. Every one of those players followed the rules perfectly. Every one of them still paid. Wembanyama's just the biggest name to land on the same square everyone else already did. Now here's the uncomfortable part. Wembanyama made the smart move, and the trap still won. He escaped the check, but the only exit was to give up $10 million a year he'd otherwise have earned, to fix a problem he didn't create. The league wrote a wall to control owners, and the bill once again landed on the player. He didn't beat the rule, he paid it and called it strategy, because at his level, that's the best available outcome. And that's what makes it worse than a bad break. He could see the whole board. He knew exactly what square he was moving to, and exactly what it cost, and it was still his best option. The trap didn't fool him. It just charged him anyway. He was in check, he got out, and it cost him a fortune to move one square. If the math is wrong, show us the document.